Alright, hey guys. So I'm going to start off talking about my Robinhood this week. I only traded one stock this week with Robinhood, and it was AESE. And this week I'm up 11%, $126. I did have a loss. I think a couple weeks ago I had my account was up at 1251. I had a present decent size loss and brought my account back towards 1084. Small winner brought it back up to 1131, and then one more winner brought my account to all-time highs, 1258. So just I guess uh, shy of $7, I guess, from last week. But this is what it takes, you know. I will have ups and downs, but as long as I stay focused and consistent, I know for sure that I will definitely come right back up and come even higher. So as a stock trader, it's very important. One of the toughest lessons most traders face is that when they have a big loss, you know, they usually get discouraged, and you don't want to be discouraged because it'll just keep you down. Once it happens, right? You want to keep looking up. You instead of being discouraged, you want to be encouraged from your losses. And once you have found that, you definitely will come out on top. So that's just a simple mindset thing. Um, so so this week I'm happy that I I'm back at all-time highs. Let's go over my trades. So right here, let's see. So my only trade this week, according to the messages here. So this week, January 26th, AESE, I had bought 500 shares at 203, and I had sold the rest at 228. So roughly almost I would say 25 cents a share. I'm not sure what's that in percentage wise, but it's all about these small gains. You don't have to catch most of the move. And especially when you have a small account, you only keep taking these singles and keep doing it over and over again. And very soon your account will start to compound. Um, I'm kind of in performance wise this month, and depending, seeing how hot it was, I'm surprised that my account hasn't doubled yet. And most of the fact is that I'm also trading different accounts at the same time. So I have another account in my E-Trade. I have actually two accounts in my E-Trade. This one and then another account. Um, and so I'm kind of handling four accounts at once, and it's kind of hard to focus, on all of them. So I guess that's kind of the reason why my Robinhood is kind of just being just a bit slow. But I'm still confident that in by this year my account should be at around 100,000. Hopefully, um, hopefully. But if not, that's fine. I'll still continue to do it until I reach 100,000. It's definitely possible. Just need to stay consistent. So that's Robinhood for you guys. One trade this week, AESC. So let's exit this out right here. All right, so right here. So today, I traded. I actually didn't trade much today. Up 13K today. I had. Let's see, what did I trade today? Okay, seems like I trade GSV. Okay, so GSV, and pretty much this was the only trade I traded. The reason I played GSV was because there was a gold name that halted multiple times. It was TRX, and if you guys see this, unfortunately, it didn't hold up. Um, the main factor these stocks don't usually hold up is because they have no news. Um, because if there's no news, why would buyers be, buyers would have need to have a good reason why they should hold their whatever they're holding or whatever they bought. But in this case, there's no news, so there was no point of holding a stock when it has no news and it's going up out of nowhere, right? Just somehow just popped up like I think it over 100% like really quickly. So from here, let's see. Yeah, so 125%. That's crazy. And it halted four times on the upside, and it also halted another three times on the downside. So total of seven halts, which is just crazy. This stock was actually somewhat gapping up. It had a small move pre-market, went from 80s to 90s, pulled back, and well, once it went over 90s, this thing went, busted through went to 110, halted, 130, halted, 150, halted, 175, halted, and I was hoping that once it goes over two, maybe it'll halt one more time over two, and definitely bring these sympathies to life. But sadly, on this fifth halt, or on this fourth halt, after this fourth halt, it just halted back down. So, and there was only like two other stocks that made sense to play sympathy, which was one of them was I think what was that one stock? Alright, let's see. I knew there was one stock. Hold on, let me so going on Finviz. Let's see. TRX. It was oh, it was AAU. So AAU was also one sympathy and GSV. AAU went kind of had a similar move to GSV. I was thinking about playing AAU here in the 70s, but honestly, it's a little bit too high, and well, I didn't want to buy this thing when it was up. Like, let's see, around 20% is still kind of low. But it already had went up to 77. So, and if you looked over here, it went straight over 80, but it went right back down. So just a bunch of whippy action. So that's why I knew that, you know what, let me just play something else. There has to be at least one other stock, and it was GSV. GSV was one I had got in, actually under 70s. So I was trying some here, in the 68s right here. I'm like, okay, let's see. I want to see some buying first, before I buy. I want to see some buying action. So it had dipped right here. I'm like, okay. And then I see some buyers on the, tape, and I'm like, okay, this thing might go over 69. So I'm like, okay, when 69 clears, I'm buying whatever is at 70 cents. So I had bought the rest at 70 when 69 went through, and I bought rest over for 70 break. And this thing went over 75, and 77 was a it was really really hard to get through. It was hovering in the 77, 76 for like a good 5 minutes. It had tried to break out for the first time. There was like a 77 wall of maybe like 500k shares. It chewed through that, but it pulled back, and it was just going back and forth to 76, 77. It tried to break through again, and we were getting some like ticks over 77, but there was not enough buying power to send this thing straight to 80 and towards 1. So I was like, you know what? If it fails the like the third time, most likely it's going back down, just in case. My risk was probably on this pullback around 74. So for example, yeah, so it looked like it was about to break 74, 75. So when I says if it breaks 75, I'm out. So the rest over here after it broke down, and I was like, okay, maybe 75 holds, because it's a VWAP. In this case, there was just way too much selling, so it just went all the way straight down below 70 cents and continued to fade the entire day. So that was like a pretty unfortunate trade. It had broken out, or it had broke 77, but it couldn't get above it, so it was kind of a failed breakout, I guess you would say. And that was it. Let's see. Shippers went bonkers. Let's see some super names. So what? Tops. Oh yeah. Okay, looks like they have. Okay, the thing with shippers is I think they're heavily shorted. Let me look. Let's see. I guess not. Yeah, I have no idea why shippers ran. They had no news. I am just not sure why shippers ran. I mean, I could look at PXS, one other one name. Yeah. Do you know what went top? Like what shipper name went first? Like out of all shipper names, do you know which shipper name went first? I believe it's maybe Tops, probably. Oh, NM getting his first. Oh, okay. Yeah. So whenever you see like, if you see one like stock went crazy, just like GameStop, right? GameStop started the trend of all these like other very high shorted stocks, right? Same thing with any kind of other stock. If one shipper name goes over 100%, most likely there will be um definitely names that will follow or sympathy plays. This thing went actually I'm surprised this thing only went like 50%, but it did halt multiple times and made new highs. So yeah, the madness is because of one name that starts all the trend. So in this case, you said NM started getting hits first. So when people see NM, okay, the people who have missed out or looking for sympathy plays are gonna be playing PXS tops and all these low floats. So that's why I would say that's the shipper. Now I don't know any clear reason why NM ran, but all I can say is that it was probably, I don't know, pumped, and then everyone started to follow the trend. So everyone's like on the trend right now. Like when they saw GameStop, they're gonna say, "Oh, okay, what's running now?" And they're all going to do the same thing, right? History repeats itself. Oh yeah, yeah, I will definitely. I will definitely go over my trade yesterday on GTE. So let's go to GTE yesterday. This one was. I'm definitely gonna have to record this trade. This was definitely one of my biggest trade of all time. Well, my first six-figure trade. So right here, this is what I saw pre-market, right? Now, before GTE, I'm pretty sure there was another penny name. Let's see. Let me go back to my. It was an ACD. Yeah, it was probably NACD, the main reason why I play GTE, because NACD had ran from like It was just NACD was crazy. If you guys look at NACD, this was like a multi-day runner. Let's see, too much, too much. All right, right here. So NACD was a penny runner that was like started grinding from 35 cents and went almost to $1, and it halted too. But like things started really getting like really like more vertical as NACD broke um over 50 cents. I mean, it just continued to, it just keep getting steeper and steeper. And also NACD also had, once it didn't quite hit one, almost did, but eventually it did. So it did after like it had its like massive run or first leg up. It pulled back and consolidated midday and squeezed all the way back to its highs. Um, and like went over to 150s, which was honestly very like I was surprised, and it just went after hours. It just went bonkers after hours. I also played NACD too, and I was kind of sad that I missed out on 150s, but honestly, I was ready and prepared for the next penny play. I had the buying power. I'm like, you know what? We're in a very hot market. I'm willing to you know, keep my account. Like at that time, I had like around 200 grand in buying power. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep this 200 grand in my account and see what I can find tomorrow. And wow, GTE came up. Now it wasn't the same sector as NACD because NACD I believe was a bio name and GTE is a whole different sector and probably higher float too. This was an energy name, but I was like, no, I tried to look for other pennies in the bio sector, and I'm like, there was no other name but GTE. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take a stab at this because looking at the pre-market, if you guys look here, pre-market right here, it had kind of ran, and yesterday the day before the run, it was kind of like I guess I mean it spiked and it did this and that. I don't know what it did, but it came right back up. So I'm like, okay, it's getting interesting now. I'm kind of interested now. And I love the pre-market, so I can easily judge off my risk. So right here it had went from 50 to 55, and I'm like, okay, let me zoom in a little bit more. So okay, the pre-market levels here is probably to watch for is maybe 51. Um, maybe it could dip down to 50, but I'm like, no way. And also on the daily, this is what I liked about also GTE most. The daily. If you guys look right here, this previous high right here back in early January or mid January, it made a high of 60 cents and pulled back, and now GTE is about like on the way of breaking out over 60, right? Same thing with NACD. If you guys look at NACD, very similar. Right here, back in January 12th, mid uh mid January, it made a high at around 60 cents. Almost exactly the same. And it's also a penny name that's running from around 50 cents to from 50 cents and over 60 cents is a big breakout, right? There's not much resistance above 50 cents. So okay, GTE right here, exactly the same. January mid 12th, 60 cents, right? So you know what? It's above the 200 EMA too, so it has room. And once this thing gets over next resistance is probably 70 cents. I mean, this thing they could definitely see $1 and higher. So that was the main reasons why I picked GTE because of that sole reason. I was very confident. So right here, it looked like it was holding 5 ones, and I saw some buying on the tape. People looking to buy 5-2. So I bought everything at 5.2. I just went all in 200 grand. I'm like, let's get this. I'm like, you know what? This is either a play that's gonna give me 100k gain, or is this gonna maybe a small loss of maybe 10 grand, I guess. But I was willing to go big in this, so I went big. It has spiked and broke through highs actually, pre-market highs almost around 5.7, but then it pulled right back. Um, I was thinking about stopping out here, but I'm like, you know what? No, I have a really good entry. Um, Now if it breaks under like probably if it breaks under 5.1 or 50 cents, then I'll stop out. But I'm like, I'm pretty sure people are willing to buy this, dip buy this because of what happened with NACD. NACD's volume was just insane. NACD's volume yesterday or a couple days ago was a billion shares, over a billion shares. And GTE right here. Oops, come on. GTE traded, and I was like, okay, if we could just get like at least maybe possibly half of what NACD traded volume wise that day, that'll be pretty big too. Because GTE was also trading all time high volume. I'm like, this is it's also trading all time high volume. So this is what I liked, and also potentially swinging this, but I held all my shares even though it went right back to my entry. And it came right back up. So I was like, okay, that's good. I mean, I was still kind of scared, but at the same time, I still had really strong conviction. So once it broke over 5.5, I was like, yeah, this thing's about to go. It's going to go. It had went and just went and went. Volume kept increasing. It went to a high of 72, pulled back, didn't sell a single share at all. I'm like, you know what? I'm willing to let this consolidate because usually after one big leg up, it usually has a pretty decent pullback and consolidates before another rip. So right here, it consolidated, it ripped up again. I still didn't sell. I was thinking about selling, but I was like, you know what? No, I think this can definitely see close to $1. There's no way. I mean, just look at the daily chart. The next resistance would be, well, the previous resistance was at 60 cents, then next 70 cents. And once it gets over 70, this thing is can definitely see $1. So I think you know what? I'm gonna keep holding this. So after it had a really pretty good pullback actually, it had pulled back all the way up to below 60 cents. I'm like, yeah, it looks pretty much done. But I'm like, if you looked at NACD yesterday, NACD that day when it ran, it had a big leg up and just kind of like it looked like it was done actually. It looked like it was done, but it kind of steadily grinded back up and consolidated and just continued to grind back up. So I mean, you know what? I'm pretty sure GTA is gonna do the same thing. Just from what I see from NACD, and it did exactly that. I'm like, you know what? 60 should hold because that's the previous daily resistance, right? So now the previous resistance is now new support. So 60 cent new support. And it had held those levels. And it still grinded back up. And it grinded back up. It tried to hit 70 again, but couldn't quite break it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's gonna pull back, towards VWAP probably, and it's gonna consolidate there again, kind of like it did right here in the 60s, right? It tried to make lows and it held. So I'm like, okay, VWAP should hold just like what it did in the 60s. And then went right back up, broke 70s, consolidated, and made new high day soon. Now there was an instant where I do not know if you guys remember or if you guys were in this, but when it was trying to break over 75, it was having trouble. There was like about maybe two two instances where there was massive bidders at 0.7499. They just kept stacking on top of each other. At one point, it was probably like over maybe 600, 700k worth of uh, bidders on 0.7499 on and stacked up against 0.75, which 0.75 bit at the ask the wall on 0.75 wasn't actually really that much. It was probably like maybe 200 grand of shares against 600, 700k worth of bidders, and it was kind of like frozen in time. It was just 7499 and 75 for like a good 2 minutes, and it wouldn't even bust through 75 for some reason. Eventually those bidders got, well, sold into, and we had like a, I'm not sure what had happened here. I don't know if it's just my A trade or it actually tapped point 0.6. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to my other chart on Webull. Let's see what had happened. But were you guys there? I'm curious if you guys saw that, or if you were watching GTE at around 7.5 that time. So yeah, no, it didn't go back to point 0.6. It actually dipped. It had like a quick dip towards 6.7, 6.8. So like right here. So according to my Webull, it actually held those levels, and it continued to grind back up. Yeah, I was pretty scared that time. Like, you know what? I feel like I want to like sell into those big bidders and just call it, and maybe look for another play, and hopefully get that over the 100 mark, 100k mark. But I'm like, you know what? Now, it's just, the volume that is trading right now is just crazy right now. So you know what? I'm just let it slide. Plus it's a very high float stock, so I'm gonna just leave it as B. I'm gonna let it do what it does. And if it does break down all the way back below 6.2, then I'll stop out probably. But this time it actually held 0.68, so that's good. Came right back up, and eventually it tried to break over again right here. Another instance. I think it's the third time right here. It tried to break over 7.5 again. There was like huge bidders right here, just stacked up against 0.74999 against 7.5, and still wouldn't break up. It pulled back once more time, and then eventually broke out. And right here at 80 cents, I'm like, after seeing that like crazy action, I'm like, okay, once it gets over 80, I'm gonna start selling. I noticed that if I sell over 8.2, I would be just over 100 grand in profits. So I sold most of my position over 8.2, and I didn't even hold this to one. I actually sold some. Just I had like a small position and sold the rest around 80, mid 80s. Um, and yeah, some people were asking me if they should sell up here when the stock was trading at around 95 cents. They're asking me, hey, should I sell? Like, and I said, most likely you should at least scale out half at least. They scaled out two-thirds of their position, 75% at around 94, 93. Good thing they did. And a good thing they did that because it actually pulled back, and well, it never really came back up. Um, I was actually hoping this thing would definitely, grind back up and possibly gap up, kind of like what NACD did, but it did not do that. So that was my trade in a nutshell. I know I said a lot. I hopefully you guys kind of imagined as I was talking about my trade. But yeah, I had sold rest in the low 80s for 100k gain for my first six figures. So all the way from 0.52, like right here, and the rest at just in the low 80s. So that's probably, let's see, percentage wise. So that's about 60% gain right there. So I was about all in, 200 grand. So that's over 50% right there. So yeah, definitely 100 grand, over 100 grand, just over 100 grand winner. Yes, 3 hours worth. The patience on this one was, I had to use all my patience and discipline on this trade. It was, I got it one time and get out. over 80 cents, and that was my plan. I just stuck to it. Seeing what NACD had did, you know what? I'm holding this until I see over 80 cents. So yeah, I held it through these pullbacks. You know, I saw my account was like I was up probably 70K up here when it was in the low 70s. I was up 70K, and then watch it go back down to like 30, 25K that back down here. So yeah, 50,000, you know, all gone. Well, unrealized. And still it grinded back up. So yeah, I helped through all of that. I needed all the discipline and patience on this thing, and it definitely paid off, definitely. And about this month, like I said earlier, guys, at the beginning of the stream, it's just been a crazy month. I haven't posted about it yet, but you know, I have a new PR month. Um, my recent PR month last year was in June of 2020. I made like 279 grand for that month, and now this month I just passed that, and now just made just under half a mil this month. To be exact, let's see. To be exact, I made $484,000 and $189 this month. So just under half a mil. Um, just amazing. Let's see. So yeah, definitely a new milestone. I already made like this month alone. Let's see. Yeah, I already made like almost. Let's see. Yeah, I made just maybe just over one third or two fifths of my yearly income from last year, or yearly gains of last year. So already like one third of it, or two fifths of it already. In just 1 month. 50K. That is awesome, man. That is awesome. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, this month has just been crazy. Everyone's making record gains. I'm pretty sure there've been record losses too. But it's just been crazy. Yeah, Joe saw it all. Yes. And that's the thing, you know, when you guys are, you know, looking at stocks, you know, once you get used to the price action and seeing what's going on in the tape, you know, once you get used to that, it should, you know, you should be less panicky and stick to your plan more. Um, depending on your, you know, how high your conviction is. So on GTE, my conviction was very, very high. It was the only GTE was the only trade I made that day, and that was it. Actually, I did trade one other stock for a swing. It was an oil name, SNDE. I had lost on that this morning. So this morning I had a loss. I think it was $3,000. But made it all back. So yeah. So once you guys get, you know, you guys have to get used to the screen. You guys need screen time. For those that are new, you guys need to stare at the tape. Not just stare at it, but just kind of like tell yourself what's going on. You know, 774,999. You know, you see big bids, big asks. You know, how does it react? Um. So yeah. Wow. 100% green on all green for January. That is awesome, man. That is awesome. Let's see. Geez, about a month. Yeah, definitely learn from mistakes. Remember, never be discouraged. You want to be encouraged. Um, and just move on to the next best setup. There were days I had where I was up almost 80K, but I lose it all. Because I was too greedy. Um, and I was always imagining when I'm gonna have my six-figure trade. And this month, surprisingly, I had a six-figure trade just because I looked up and know that I will one day hit it. I didn't discourage myself because I didn't take my 80K gains. Instead, I only took 25K worth of gains because I held for too long. And I told myself one day I'm going to hit it. And that's it. I didn't keep banging myself on the head saying why didn't I sell? Why didn't I sell? For days and days. I just said just move on, take a breather, and continue to move forward. Yeah, I went to college for only one semester, and that was it. Yeah, that is awesome. I think the last time I had a full green month was, let's see, last time I had a full green month. Uh-oh. See how full green month. Yeah, the last time I had a full green month was in June of last year. I made like 280 grand. So that's pretty wild. It's a while back. Um, but seeing that, Lucky Duck man, seeing this full green month, like, yes, the 50K is awesome, but just the one, like the full green month itself, means that you definitely have consistency. And you definitely will be much, you know, yeah, just seeing this full green month definitely just shows the future of your potential. So keep that up, Lucky Duck. Stay consistent. You definitely have the consistency. Yeah, I also encourage all of you guys to also make your own calendar, like what I do, what Lucky Duck does, and just either on paper or on a spreadsheet on the computer. I have a red and green pen. And whenever I have a green day, I write in green, and red day, vice versa. So I definitely encourage you guys to do that. I started doing that last year because I knew a person, a very successful trader. He also does that too. So I did the same thing. Why not? I like to see my stuff. See my gains. I like to see the calendar because it just helps me to see the big picture. So yeah, definitely, I encourage you guys to do this, and hopefully one day or next month, you guys can show me your month. I'll be happy. Yeah, unfortunately, okay, so you did have really good entries there, Joe. I see that six. That's really nice entries. Um, Especially that a stock that's up almost 30, 40, 50%. I'll definitely scale out at like highs at around 70 cents and scale some out maybe at least at 70 cents just in case. Now, right here, DTE. Yeah, I would definitely scale some out 70 just in case. A little bit more. Now, if you look over here at the 1 minute, it looked like it was about to go over 74, then bust through 75. But I would actually use the previous pullback as my risk. Um, So I would risk maybe 70. If it goes back under 70, I would sell everything. And like it broke below 70. It tried to come back up, but I would say the last stop would be around 60, 68 or 67. Um, Unfortunately, it didn't hold VWAP and just went straight down. Sometimes it happens. But yeah, that's very nice. You recognize the pattern. I would have taken the same trade as you, Joe. But only one thing I would do differently is selling at resistance levels, like 70 cents or breakout levels, just in case. And you always remember you can always get back in. Where did you get your physical calendar from? Oh, I just went to Walmart and I just went to the calendar section or wherever they sell those journals, and I just looked one by one which was the best suitable calendar. Um, so yeah, I just went to Walmart and just bought it. I think it was for I don't know how much, but it was definitely worth well the investment, I would say. Yeah, I don't blame you for that, man. You know, shooting for a home run, I don't blame you for that. I was also shooting for a home run, but in this case, I had a really good entry. Yeah, lucky. Yeah, okay, that's nice of you, Lucky. Um, OEG trade. Best thing I did was selling to strength. Nice. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, so Louis, you did very well. So right here, when was that? That was oh right here this day. Okay. So you bought the dips, I see that, and you sold into some resistance. So 777. Yeah, so that's pretty much very good, right? Really. Yeah, very well executed. Honestly, I'm really scared to play stocks around $75 or near $10. So I really don't trade that, but the fact that you did that amazes me. Wow. hmm it's not bad getting greedy, but if you get greedy like all the time, it's definitely not a good habit. It's sometimes good to get greedy, especially if we're in a hot market. Um, with Joe, he was getting greedy, but it was okay because in the market we're in, things are just flying. It's flying all over the place. Um, so greed is good sometimes, but if you're always greedy, it's a really bad habit. All right, so do you guys have any more questions for me? You guys want to talk about some stuff? Um, talk about RHE. Yeah, RHE was one of the stocks with going with OXBR and some of these um, low floaters. JUPW. 30-second scalp. Oh, why'd you play JUPW? See, RHE. Oh, I see. Is JUPW somewhat related to IGC? RHE. Yeah, with RHE, this one was probably a low floater. It definitely trades like it trades. If you guys look, it spikes and dips, spikes and dips. Near its lows, spikes and then dips right back down, and well, did it again today. Spikes and dips right back down. That's basically RHE right there in a nutshell. I could definitely tell you that. Um, weed name. Okay, interesting. Even though its company says wireless. Let's see. Let's do some more DD on this. JPW. Oh. Oh, okay. I thought this was wireless, but it's actually wellness. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I see you. I see what you're saying. Um. Okay. Yeah. So it seems like you guys definitely a lot of plays this month by itself. Especially at the end of the month, it's just been very crazy. I like seeing that I really like seeing you guys posting these entries and exits. Um, Also some of the setups that you guys are watching too. Let's see. Hey Joe, didn't you have a brother somewhere? Isn't it? I forgot who it was. Oh, was it Louis? I don't think so. Oh, no. What? Um. Okay, I'm really confused with what's going on, but yeah. All right, guys. That's it for this month and this week. It's just been very awesome to see my performance, seeing new highs, and I'm just also very proud of you guys. Seeing the progress you guys are making. So I love what you guys are posting. I see it every day, every morning. I might not comment on them, but I see them. So I just love that. I just love it. It also inspires me too. You know. Yeah, he's my brother. um. All right, so I'm gonna stop the recording here, but I will still stay on for you guys.